כל השנה הלכות בכל יום מובטח לא שובו בין הרמב"ם. בעזרת השם, the two mitzvot today are sponsored לעילוי נשמת ימיל בן יעקב וגולדה, ולרפואה שלמה בין המתים לחיים, לרפואה שלמה על כל חולי עמו ישראל, בכללם ליוסף חיים בן מפרד, חיה בת לאה. Names? Okay. Mitzvah today are mitzvah number 497, where there is an obligation for a Jewish nation to appoint over ourselves a king. And mitzvah number 498 will be, there's a prohibition appointing, when you do the appointing of a king, it may not be a non-Jew. It has to be only a Jew. All right, let's kick off the mitzvot. It says like this: שנצטווינו למנות עלינו מלך מישראל, יקבצנו כולנו ונהגנו כחפצו. All right, we have to gather together and appoint over ourselves a king, and it has to be that he's going to have full sovereignty over the nation. Whatever he desires will be done. All right, let's see what that means. It says over there in the Torah, in Sefer Devarim, 17th chapter, Pasuk 15. Som tasim alecha melech, you must appoint over yourself a king. V'amru b'sifri, and the Sifri explains, Som tasim alecha melech mitzvah aseh. Som tasim, it's a yotze lepol, you have to go and act. Place, and you shall place over yourself. The word place indicating that it's an obligation to do so. B'shosha mitzvah, what's the purpose of this mitzvah? Katavti b'kesef terveh b'lav denasi, the prohibition over there of a nasi, b'siman ein zayin, okay? ושם הערכתי בתועלת הנמצא לעם בהיות עליהם איש אחד לראש ולקצין. The rabbi already, the Chaim says, I already explained to you what is the purpose of having one leader of a nation, over a nation. As we already understand, it says, כי לא יתקיים יישוב העם בשלום בלתי זה. The nation cannot survive together as a nation unless there is going to be a one mindset. Obviously, you can't have one mindset when you have 15 million people. Right? You can't have one mindset. Like an instance, I remember when I was growing up, the famous joke was, who has a better job? Who has a harder job? Who has a harder job? In America, Clinton was in charge of 300 million citizens. And in Israel, Rabin at the time was in charge of 3 million Jews. So they asked, who has a harder job? The 300 million citizens or 3 million citizens? So the answer is very simple. That Clinton has 300 million citizens he's in charge of. Rabin was in charge of 3 million presidents. That's a different story. Now you have 3 million presidents. You have to get along somehow. That was then, right? But now you see that Bibi Netanyahu does not have 5 million Jews that he's in charge of. They're all shipalach. 4.5 million of them at least are all little goats that just let themselves be fooled by him, to be part of an experiment that he designed. Hashem berachem aleinu over there. No, they were weary already. They were broken down. Hashem should have mercy on us and save us from such individuals. All right, let's see now. So continue next. Okay, so we understand that you have a leader, and in order to survive, you need somebody to be in charge. So now, that because everybody has their own ideas, everybody has their own mindset, you have to have one leader that you choose. And Bezat Hashem, obviously, we're not talking about Bibi Netanyahu. We're not talking about Bibi Netanyahu. We're talking about an individual who's going to have the most simple thing that you're supposed to have in order to be a king. Somebody who fears God, or at least has some inclination of fearing God. Okay, coming to America and eating kosher food because you're visiting, you're a dignitary of the state, does not make you Jewish. You know that, right? It's a history, a long history of the state of Israel. When the governor comes over here, they come and they eat kosher food only. The White House only serves them not just kosher, the best of the best of kosher, glad kosher. It's a Jewish delegation. But when they're there, they could be eating a pita or lafa on Pesach also in Israel. The government delegation that comes over here to eat kosher. But in Israel, for some reason, they think it's more prevalent to do whatever you want. Again, they're catering to the masses, so they believe that that's what the masses will appreciate. Unfortunately, we're not talking about these people. Somebody gets upset, Rabbi, how come it says in the Torah you're not allowed to hate the prince, you're not allowed to hate the president, you're not allowed to say Nasi, a president, you're not allowed to hate the Jewish president. Yeah, whatever you say. מדיני המצווה, מה שאמרו זיכרונם לברכה, as our sages told us, שאין מעמידין מלך בישראל בתחילה, אלא על פי בית דין של 70 זקנים ועל פי נביא. Now, who knows what's the heart of a person? We don't know what is inside the heart of a person. What is our intentions are. We're talking we're saying over here, giving up our full sovereignty. Okay, we're giving up our full sovereignty to an individual. It says, he will do whatever he desires. Now, again, so what kind of individual are we talking about here? It is thousands % not talking about this generation of Bechlal, and now you may be talking about 2,000 year generation ago. We're talking about it has to be a king who is appointed by Sanhedrin Agdolah, 71 people, wise men, the Geonim, the ones that had the whole Torah in the hands of the palms, in 70 different languages. Not just, somebody who knows 5-6 languages. They had to know 70 plus languages. And if they found out that in India alone has 1,600 languages, Mistama, most probably the Sanhedrin people knew all those 1,600 different languages. In India alone. We're not even talking about the whole world. All right?
When they say like 1,600 languages,
yeah.
So for example, like is Bukhari a language?
Of course.
No, it's Persian. Persian and North Rhine are almost exactly the same.
Yeah, whatever.
So that's what it means 1,600 languages.
No, but I understood in India that they're totally different dialects.
No, that's true, but they may not be.
They don't even understand each other.
Understood. Well, China also the same thing.
So that's it. That's also Sanhedrin Agdolah.
No, but I know. Nevertheless, what I'm saying is that in Baruch Hashem, if you do 70 languages, you probably get around the entire world no problem.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think the indication of 70 languages does not really mean 70 languages. That was just a common theme that we used, 70 nations. But now that we know that there's different nations. There are over officially 195 different nations, right?
I'm not so sure that there aren't 70 roots, so to speak.
No, there could be roots, but again, but we're talking about people who knew the whole Torah in all the languages in the world, and now you also needed another element, very important element.
Well, today, for example, today even all in India, if you speak Hindi, that's the official language, right? Actually, or English. But technically speaking, you speak the language of India. So even though there might be secret dialects, Shibboleth, here and there, right? Then fine. That doesn't necessarily qualify as a language. It's not a national language.
So it could be like quote unquote like Ebonics or Pig Latin.
No, let's say all the Indian languages in America, right? Chickasaw, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So does that mean to say that if you live in the United States, chances you speak English, right? Or there's an official language that kind of is over your nation. It doesn't the fact that there are people that speak other dialects. I don't know that necessarily goes against the concept of 70 nations, 70 languages. They're roots.
Besides all that, there's a very, very important element that we have to take into consideration. In order to appoint a king, you need a prophet, a navi. In order to appoint a king, to know what's in his heart. Again, we're giving over sovereignty to whatever he wants, to whatever he desires. So how you know what he desires? Only through a prophet. Only through a prophet. Ki Yehoshua shemineu Moshe Rabbeinu ubeit dino. So Moshe Rabbeinu appointed Yehoshua as the next king. Shaul v'David shemina otam Shmuel, as they see that Shmuel HaNavi appointed Shaul and David. So besides having the prophet, he has to have the beit. You have to have a Sanhedrin Agdolah that will appoint the king. What about a queen? We're not allowed to have a queen. There's no such thing as malka. There's a queen. In the Jewish concept, there's no such thing as a queen takes over. It has to be melech. כשהמדינה מלך, היו מושכים אותו בשמן המשחה. So the rules are, there's a shemen hamishcha, the anointed oil would jump out, and that would be part of the service, right? Like the fake England. You saw inauguration of the king over there.
Hot Pants Charlie.
Huh?
Hot Pants Charlie.
Yeah, the evil man who declared.
What did you call him?
Hot Pants
Hot
Charlie.
Pants Charlie.
No, I think it's a trigger happy Charlie, because he declared war on the whole world half a year before he became a king. The guy's a nutcase. Okay, השם ירחם עלינו. אומר לך, right, שנתמנה זכה במלכות לו ולבניו. So now, after the king was anointed, it's for him and for his children after him. כמו שכתוב למען יאריך ימים על ממלכותו וממלכותו הוא ובניו בקרב ישראל. As it says over there that he will, that in order, the king has to be observant and he has to make sure he follows all the Torah Kula. What's the purpose of that? In order to make sure that he's going to be stable in his kingship, and the children who will follow in his footsteps will be also in that same category. הניח בן קטן משמירין לו המלוכה עד שיגדל כמו שעשה יהוידע ליואש. So over there what happened was that if you have a king that dies prematurely or whatever, he dies before the next of kin, the next child becomes of age of rulership, like in the case of we had that, right? We had a youngster. So what we do is we wait for the youngster to grow up, to be anointed. Obviously we're talking about bar mitzvah. וכל הקודם בנחלה קודם לירושת המלוכה, והבן הגדול קודם לקטן ממנו. So obviously the earlier born will have the rights to become the king before. ולא המלכות בלבד, אלא כל השררות שהם במעשה או בשם כבוד מן השמות הנכבדים וכל המנויים שבישראל בירושה הם לא לאדם שזוכה בו בנו אחריו ובן בנו ובן בנו עד לעולם. So not just kingdom, any other appointing will be also carried over from father to son. I have a zero in my mind. I don't know Kohen Gadol. I don't think Kohen Gadol jumps. Maybe Kohen Gadol jumps from the father to son. Very strange.
Sorry, what?
The Kohen Gadol also jumps from son to son, father to son.
Kohen Gadol?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
No, it says very strange here.
Well, no, see, the thing is like everything. If somebody's qualified,
No, he doesn't say qualified here. It says, וכל המנויים שבישראל בירושה הם לו לאדם שזוכה בה. בנו אחריו ובן בנו ובן בנו עד לעולם.
Right. So why would you say it's
Any appointing, he says, any job appointment. והוא שיהיה ממלא מקום אבותיו ביראת שמיים.
Let's say in modern day, you appoint a rabbi. The halacha is if his son is qualified, then he replaces him.
He takes precedence, you're saying.
You're not even, the board of the synagogue is not allowed to choose somebody else over the rabbi's son if the rabbi's son is qualified for the position. So in other words, and by the way, any synagogue I've ever seen that did that ended up in a total disaster. Look at Miami Beach when they didn't take Rab Shapiro, right? It's mamash. I mean the current Rab Shapiro. His father passed away. His son came as Malam Makom. They didn't take him. He was more qualified than everybody they actually interviewed. You know, the whole shul to this day will never be worth anything. That's it, gone. And
So he says.
after problem after problem.
So he says the condition is the son has to have God. He has to be God fearing.
Right.
אבל כל שאין בו יראת שמיים, אף על פי שחוכמתו מרובה, אין צריך לומר שאין ממניותו ומינוי. So I guess so again, Kohen Gadol, we could assume if the Kohen Gadol is a son is in the same state, they have to take the son over, like the rabbi is saying. Okay. מן המיעוט שבישראל.
He's not qualified. He's not qualified.
Right. אלא שראוי לשנותם ולרחיקם, even more so, those children who are not fit to take the position, you must push them away. I don't know, the king is not so sure. ועליהם אמר דוד המלך שנאתי כל פועלי אוון. However, the king is not so. I don't know why he's correlating it to the king. The king is father to son. Regardless of the kings, we saw that it was not so. The kings, they didn't have Yirat Shamayim, but they followed the firstborn or the older son took over. Okay. ומה שאמרו זכרונם לברכה, שום תשים עליך, שתהיה אימתו עליך. The purpose that Sanhedrin they explains that the Hashem commanded double language. Som tasim. What is this double language? Place you shall place. The purpose of that language was to teach you that you should have fear and awe of this individual. Okay, it's not just a little king over there, Mr. Happy Trigger Charles. We're talking about when you speak about David HaMelech, Shlomo HaMelech. When you say their names, it has to be with awe that you are, you're basically, like we said, you're giving over the full sovereignty to these individuals. Okay. So now, who is this mitzvah incompetent? This mitzvah is obviously incumbent on the people who are in charge of the community. So it's not an individual like Rafael. You have no mitzvah. I have no mitzvah to appoint a melech over me. It has to be a communal individuals who are people who are basically running the community, which is on Hederi Agdolah. They would have this mitzvah, not us individually. All right, mitzvah number 498. There is actually a prohibition appointing over us a king who is not a Jew. Okay? He must be from the offspring of the Jew. And even if he is the most holiest ger, the most holiest ger, all right, listen, Shmaya and Naftalion were gerim, right? There was a big, they were hated. By whom they were hated, the Gemara mentions. Again, they were hated by Kohen Gadol. Why were they hated by Kohen Gadol? Because people will forsake, even on Yom Kippur, they would come to Kohen Gadol and say, "Hi, Mike, thank you for your service." But they would run to Shmaya and Naftalion and kiss their hands. Abandon the Kohen Gadol. So it was a story there that he was not happy. Why did he do that? Yeah, there's a give covet, big covet for a ger. He deserves it. If he, we're talking about people who were leading Am Yisrael, Shmaya and Naftalion, the teachers of Hillel and Shammai. Hillel and Shammai they both happened to be learning from the Gerim. It's an amazing thing. So, yeah, you could reach a status, but Atkan, kingdom you cannot have. All right, tell them, Mechila, that's the HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded. Listen to America. I was always thinking America learned it from here. In America, you can't have a president unless you're Barack Obama. You can't have a president. Maybe YouTube is going to censor me now. Wow. Please, YouTube, don't censor me.
The show up at my door. Don't make such blasphemous statements.
The what?
For the SS to show up at my door.
The SS.
They showed up in Young Israel. They just show up here. What's this?
Yeah. Right, you have to be a citizen of America to become a president. So maybe I was thinking maybe that's where they took it from.
I made a couple statements and they showed
Born. You have to be born.
Huh?
Born in the United States.
You have to be born in the United States and you have to be 35 years old. Okay, it says over there in Devarim, chapter 17, pasuk 15, Lo tuchal latet alecha ish nochri asher lo achicha hu. The Torah commands us, you may not place over yourself a rulership, you may not give over sovereignty, away sovereignty to somebody who's not your brother. And it says with that Besifri, Lo tuchal latet alecha ish nochri. What does that mean? You may not appoint up over yourself a nochri, a person who's not part of you. Zu mitzvat lo tasef. It's a prohibition. כמו כן, שאר המינויים, אין ראוי שנמנע עלינו בדבר מהדברים, לא מינוי תורה ולא מינוי מלכות. איש יהיה מקהל גרים, עד שיהיה עמו מישראל, מדכתיב, שום תשים עליך. So now, listen, a ger is going to say, wait a minute, what's going on? You have discrimination against me? We say, no. His children are fit. His mother, if he's married a Jewish girl, his children, his offspring is fit. She has to be a child of an Israeli girl. Okay? And there's a dikduk, there's in Kiddushin, page 76, the second side, כל סימות שאתה משים, כל סימות שאתה משים עליך, לא יהיו אלא מקרב אחיך. So all the appointing jobs, all the positions that you place, so I have a big problem with the state of Israel. Besides the whole state of Israel that I have a problem with, I have a big 95%, by the way, of the police force of Israel today are not Jews. They're not Jews. You know that, right? You didn't know that? 95% of the police force. They're not Jews, B'chlal. Druzim, they call them whatever. The Israeli Arabs, the whole thing over there, it's all corruption. There is no real Jews over there, Kimat. And it's a horrible state. That's why they could do whatever they're doing. You were wondering, how can a Jew be at a wedding, 2 years ago, at a wedding during the lockdowns, and the wedding, they break the Chatan's hands, Chatan's sisters, brothers, they did I remember when I was in Israel during Rabin's days. Mazeh, a Jew does this to another Jew, put them on the floor, break their hands, whatever it is, Hashem Rachem, break their heads, skulls, whatever it is, during protests. I don't know if you were. I was there. I was faking to be a reporter. I was actually pushed once by a cop. He pushed me. I said, "What do you want from me?" "Oh, sorry, mister, you please go to the side." This was 30 years ago, I'm telling you. 31 years ago. I was in Israel, 32. In the middle of a protest. What are you going to do? In Mea Sharim, there was a whole big thing. Makara, Mea Sharim, there was a kid threw a rock. It was Motzei Shabbat, right? Before Motzei Shabbat, he threw a rock at the police car. And the police car reeled off. Again, it's the wrong thing to throw cars at anybody. Forget about the police officers. But this kid, on Shabbat, he threw a rock. And the police officer he didn't touch, but he almost killed a lady. He drove over a sign. I don't know what happened there. There was a lady walking with a baby right in front of them. So the police decided to show the Mea Sharim what they made out of. So they came and they were, I'm telling you, literally breaking. I was there. I was in Yeshiva in Rehov Bloy over there in Sanhedria. Not so far by. I don't know. We went there for that Motzei Shabbat. There was a riot like crazy, and the police were mamish literally beating up people. Were walking with limbs over there. Shem Rachem. Yeah, Jewish people don't do that. Shoresh mitzvah is yedua. All right. Ki miyot amimone lerosh nishma lechol ben lechol lechol ashidaber. Again, though, obviously the whole point is that we want somebody who is of your brother nature and the same has nature, because otherwise the whole point of this leader is for you to listen to him, right? צריך להיות על כל פנים מזרעי ישראל שהם רחמנים בני רחמנים. They are the merciful ones. Yeah, I was in the Kotel 2019. I came to drop off my tefillah. So what was there? There was a guy, Ethiopian guy. The Israeli guy standing next to him. Ten lo likanes, let him go. What's your problem? No, the government said nobody could bring any paperwork into Kotel. I said, yeah, right. The missionary is allowed to bring, but I was bringing Torah, Has Shalom. Okay, no problem. They threw me out by the gate. Throw me out. Get out, Rabbi. No problem. This guy, Ethiopian guy, was strong I said, come on. This was 5 o'clock in the morning. I said, you have patience to fight with me, Habibi? Let me go. Put it down. I'll go. Okay, no problem. He didn't let me in. Out. Okay, I went ahead and I went around to the next gate. I made sure there's no Ethiopian guy there. Israelis. Mashlomcha, Kol Harav, Tikanes. Okay, I went in. Listen to this. This is not a problem. I went in. I went through different places. By the way, I got a phone call over there. They wanted the copy of the tefillah. People all over from Toronto. Somebody called me. Rabbi, we were in the Kotel. We saw your prayer. Please send us more. I said, okay. I gave them the file. I said we could print it. Now, on the way out, this was 5 o'clock in the morning. I want to go to make Daven Netz by Shmuel Hanavi. So I'm on the way out. I'm passing by the gate. The Ethiopian guy sees me. Haram, you got in? Mazeh, he was a radio. Catch this guy. So I went out the same way I came in. The Israelis like, hey, Kvod Harav, yesh baya, there's problems here. I said, what's the problem? He says, where's the tefillah cards? He tells me. I said, I give it all out. Chelakte et ze kvar. Rabbi, tirech. Go. Literally, the guy was hunting me. He was ready to hunt me. So now, are all Ethiopians Jews? I don't know. If you have no Rahmanut, halas, let things go already, it's gone already. No, he will make sure that Chas v'Shalom, I broke his word. He said, no. So that's the point over here. The point over here is, we want this Jewish king to have, we say, haram already, let it go. You see people who are not letting things go, you have to be very careful, weary of these people. Have a wonderful day. Today, mitzvah ma'ashum l'zichronom levracha, as I said, she'en ma'abedin ela mizera Israel rosh sharira. A person that has control over you has to be from the offspring of the Jews. Ve'afilo v'moneh al emet hamim shemechalek mimeno lesadot Alright, לשדות, אמרו, גם כן, שאין מעמידין מלך ולא כהן גדול, לא ספר ולא בלן ולא בורסי. ולא מפני שיהיו פסולים למלכות, אלא מפני שאומנותן נקרא מזרזולן, בהם העם לעולם. משה שם ברכות, אלו אפילו יום אחד נפסל לשרורת אלו. So he says like this. So also, besides that, it has to be from the Jewish nation, it has to be also a position that a person is employed by or his family is employed by. That's not something that people disregard as disparaging positions. Because, we don't want somebody to be made fun of. As we see that last week, Parashat Pinchas, everybody was ridiculing Pinchas because he was from the grandchildren of, even though his grandfather was Aaron HaKohen, that was not enough. They were making fun of the fact that he was grandson of, who's his grandson? He had two grandfathers, right? Pinchas. No? He was a grandson of Aaron. That they didn't praise him. But what was the nation? What was everybody fighting about with him? He was a grandson of Yitro. And what was the problem with Yitro? Yitro, he was involved with the Avodah Zarah. He was that's right. He was involved with the Avodah Zarah. So they made fun of him and ridiculed Pinchas because of that. So to here, if you want to appoint somebody Kohen Gadol or even Balchut or any position, it has to be that his father was not employed even his family should not be employed in such a matter where there's going to be some ridicule. However, now we already know that it's already been established that David HaMelech and all his offspring are the true kings le'olam, forever. We have no way to exchange it. שורש מצוות הדענו שאסור גם כן למנות על הציבור אנשים רשעים ואכזרים. So too, there is a prohibition. You cannot appoint people that, chas v'shalom, you have a president of a shul, for instance, right? And the president of the shul, his wife doesn't go to mikveh, Rahman al-Islam. What kind of thing is this? Well, you appoint such people to be your president of the shul, chas v'shalom. There cannot be people who are בחללי תורה בפרהסיה. והממנה אותם מפני קורבה או מיראתו להם, או להחניפם, לא תסור רעה מביתו ועל קודקודו. חמסו של אותו רשע ירד. So a person who appoints such individuals will have these problems. Will have these problems that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take vengeance on these people. ומי שלא יראה מכל אדם להועיל לרבים בכל כוחו, ששכרו יהיה איתו מאת השם תמיד בעולם הזה, ונפשו בטוב תלין לעולם הבא, וזרעו יירש ארץ. So if you want to have a beautiful, secured, everybody is worried about security, right? They want to have a, sovereignty over themselves. They want to have a secured life, not to have any problems. To be very careful and diligent when we appoint leaders over the nation. It has to be somebody who is not, chas v'shalom, immersed or engrossed in anything evil, and especially not b'faresi. Obviously, we don't know what's inside the heart of every individual, but we have to do our due diligence, and B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem will bless Am Israel. Have a wonderful day. Make a lot of money without any headaches.